Hi everybody. In this video, we are going to go through how to quickly pull data for your capital asset expense account and detail testing. And where we're going to start is on your capital asset expense lead sheet. You're going to have generally there's a lead sheet where you've identified these are the accounts that I want to test. And on my lead sheet, I've gone through and I've highlighted in blue and marked in column T if it's an account that was selected in ARP for further testing, or if it was an account that was selected in capital assets or through my capital asset account selection process for further testing. So with those marked on here in column T, it's a very important step, kind of noting that those are your account selections. I am going to go to Banyan and pull some detail. So I'm gonna go to my audit reports here on top, and make sure it's 2019, got all of my periods here, and expenditure only, full 2 lines. And then instead of just going through and selecting, each of the accounts individually, I have 32 accounts I need to select. And so instead of doing this process and possibly missing some, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run a full detail. So I'm going to preview that. It's going to pull up the preview there, and then go to MS Excel, open this destination file, and then click that button, make sure it just automatically opens up. And then you would hit OK. I've already run the report here, so I'm just going to open up the finished product, what that report looks like once generated. So here's the report that pops up from Banyan. I'm not going to do anything in this Excel. I'm just going to right away copy it into my capital asset testing work paper. So I got a blank tab ready to go, my 2019 detail testing tab. So I'm going to take that Excel report. I'm just going to paste it in there. And if you don't use Control C to copy and Control V to paste, I would encourage you to do so. Those are handy shortcuts. So I hit just Control V to paste all of that data in there. So now I have all my detail. And that's a lot of detail. I don't need this detail, all of it. So I'm going to format this so I can get it to a place where I just have my transactions and I just have the accounts that I want for my detail testing. First thing that I do is I'm going to highlight columns A through K. You don't need this stuff, so I'm going to delete it. I'm just going to hit Control minus, and that deletes those columns that I've selected. Now, what I really want is I want to have an account number. This account number in column A be next to all of my transactions. I want every row to have an account number in it. I know there's a couple different ways that you can do this, but the way that I like to do it is to put a filter on my data. So I'm just gonna select all of my data here. I'm gonna scroll all the way down, select everything. I'm gonna put a filter on this. Control Shift L. Control Shift L is a quick way to put a filter on. And so now that I've got that filter in there, I can go to column A. I'm gonna click uncheck the select all, go down to blanks. I'm gonna bring up all my blanks. And in my first blank cell, I'm going to do equals A4. And then that will just equal the account number above it. And now I'm going to copy that formula into all of my blank cells. And so with the filter still on, I'm going to go down to the bottom of my data. Control down key arrow goes all the way down. Control up key arrow in column B will take me to the bottom of my data. I'm going to go back to column A and I'm going to hit Control Shift up key, and then I'm going to hit Control V to paste all of that data. So that's a quick way to paste data into all of your blank cells. Now I'm going to get rid of this filter. I hit Control Shift L to get rid of that filter. Before I mess anything up too bad, I'm going to copy values over that formula I just put in. So now I've got my account number. That's right. But one thing that I don't like is that it includes this E and it also includes the description and the same thing. So I'm going to change that. So I'm going to insert a blank. I'm going to separate out my description. So I'm going to insert a blank column there. I'm going to select all my account descriptions, go to text to columns, and fixed with, don't bring in that E, break apart the account number and council salaries, the description there. And so now I got that broken apart. All right, great. So now that that's done, I have my data here, and I'm going to format it a little bit better to get rid of all of these extra things I don't need. All these blank rows within there. I don't want that stuff. So a really quick way to do that, delete all of that gunk that just kind of makes this look junky, is I'm going to quickly select all of my data. So to do that, I'm going to start in column A there. I'm going to do Control Shift down key and then Control Shift right key to select all of my data. Control Shift right. I'm going to select all of these rows, and then I'm going to go down a few more, and then I'm going to sort this. And I'm going to sort it by column E. When I sort this by column E, it sorts it by the period of the transaction. And so what happens is it sorts it so all of the transactions are on the top. And after, at the bottom of column E, once that data stops in column E, I know that everything after that is just the gunk that we don't need. And so I'm going to select this row. I'm going to hit Shift Spacebar to select this row. And I'm going to hit Control Shift down key to go all the way down to the bottom of the worksheet. And then I'm going to hit Control minus to delete all that stuff that I don't need. So now I'm just left with my data. This is the important information that I want. So after that is finished, now I'm at a place where I can say, okay, I don't need all of these accounts. So what accounts do I want to keep on here? And that's where I'm going to go back to my capital outlay lead sheet, where I had said in column T the accounts that I want to test. And so I can do a VLOOKUP. I'm going to do equal VLOOKUP. I'm going to look up this account number in column B. And I'm going to go over to my lead sheet here and select E to T, columns E to T to get my table. And I sometimes have, and now I got to tell it what column to pull from. I want to pull where it says ARP from column T, which I put in a quick formula here to say how many columns over from E is T, and it's 16. So I'm going to put 16 in there, and I'm going to do false. And it's going to pop up an NA if I can't find that account number there, but that's okay. I wanted to do that. So again, I'm just going to go, I want to go all the way, I want to bring that formula down all the way to the bottom of my data. So I'm going to do Control down key over to column B, Control up key, Control Shift up key to select all of those, and then Control V. And look at that, it just popped in ARP where it has made a selection, and it's got my account selected there. So that's really great. So now what I can do, now that I've told it which accounts I really want to keep, I'm going to select all of my data. And remember, a good way to select data in a table, Control Shift, and then your arrows, depending on which direction you're going on. That's the best way to do it. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to do sort, and we're going to sort this by A, by column A. And then that's going to pull up all of my stuff that I wanted to onto the top. It's going to bring in a bunch of zeros. So instead of scrolling through to do that, I'm going to have it find where it says, the next place where it says ARP. No, that didn't work, of course. Have a look at values, find next. Okay, so now here's where it says ARP. I'm just going to do a quick scroll to make sure I feel like it says all the stuff it should. Okay, looks good. So now I'm going to delete out everything that doesn't say ARP or capital asset testing next to it. So all these things that say zeros next to them. So I'm going to do Shift Spacebar to select this row, Control Shift up arrow to select all of the data that says zeros, and Control minus to delete that. I'm gonna go back up and I have all these NAs that I can delete too. So if I go up, and it might just be faster to scroll from the top. Choose really fun scrolling here. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to do a shift space bar to select that row, control shift down to select all of the data that I don't want, and control minus to get rid of it. Now I'm just left with this information that I want. And before I, again, mess anything up, I'm going to copy values over that to get rid of that formula. I'm going to start this one more time because I want to put it in order of account number. So we'll do custom sort by column B. And that's going to push all of my accounts together. Okay, so you got all of your accounts together, and I wanted to fast forward a little bit and show you what some other things that you could do. So what I did after I got all my accounts sorted was I went through and I inserted a sum to get all of my accounts, and I'm going to go through those steps in a separate video. So this video was really about how to format that data and just quickly get your accounts that you want. So this has been about 11 minutes so far, 11 and a half minutes, and that's just explaining it. And so really utilizing your keyboard shortcuts, you can select your account data for a number of accounts in about, I would say, 5 minutes once you kind of get it down. So watch the next video if you want to see me put in the sums in a quick way using sum ifs, and then also do a formula to get the scope next to your accounts for testing and get your TB links in there for all of those accounts. Stay tuned.